Hey, what is up, you guys? This is Eric and Zohair with OzoneTCG. Today we're taking a look at Zohair's couple of regional wins from over the weekend. Now, this is previous format, but we're going to talk about how this deck can be adapted for the new format. Before we get to the actual deck profile, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more TCG Advanced format content, as well as Master Duel and commentary format videos. Let's get on into it.
Yeah, so I played in 3 regionals this weekend. I ended up winning 2 of them, and I got second in the third. I think I only dropped 1 round to Mystic Mine, and I had 1 draw in time. But I felt pretty good about the deck I played today, even though I couldn't get the Brave cards. Let's get started with the Cyberse package of the Cyberse Eldlich deck. I played a triple Signet Mining, triple Cyberse Gadget, and then 1 Dotscaper and 1 Firewall Guardian. It's just 8 Cyberse names. They're all like your normal summons that go into Disciple Devotee into your Scythe DPE combo. You play 8 because that's the number mathematically to max out on to see 1 in your hand as often as possible. Aside from that, I played the Fusion Destiny package. Obviously, there are 3 Fusion Destiny here. All the regionals were a day or 2 before the ban list came into effect. 1 Celestial, 1 Dasher. If you were to play this deck in the new ban list without the Brave cards, you'd just cut one of the Fusion Destinies. Not much changes. And then for the Eldlich line, I played 3 Cursed Eldland, 2 Lord, triple Sanguine, triple Conquistador, and double Hero. This is pretty standard, right? Eldland is pretty good into Sword Soul boards just because Golden Lord can bait the Baron, and you can revive it from grave to attack Chi Shao and deal with Blackout all off of 1 card before you start comboing. Another issue that the Cyberse portion of the deck has is that you don't have much of a grind game, and just having the Eldlich cards in this deck make your turn 3, 4, 5 just have a bit more substance as opposed to just DPE hand traps and not much else. This worked out pretty well. I don't think I'd change any of it unless you played Brave cards. You might cut 1 Conquistador for room. Aside from that, onto the defensives, I played 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet. Just a really good quick play spell. High impact negation of a bunch of monsters on the board. 3 copies of Ash Blossom. It's really versatile hand trap, works against a lot of different things. 3 copies of Imperm, same reason. I played 2 copies of Veiler. This card's a little bit worse than Imperm, but we played 2 just to be able to have the Halki Fibrax into Selene line off of any of our tuner hand traps. So you play 2 just to make sure that there's at least 1 in the deck if you normal Veiler to make the fiber. And then I played 2 Ghost Ogre. This card was nice ever since the Brave card's released. You can Ogre the Journey of Destiny on their turn when they activate the right, and it just completely stops the Brave line, or even if you draw it as a 6th card, if they try and use the Griffin Rider to negate one of your cards, you can chain Ogre, destroy the Griffin Rider, and prevent them from doing so. Worked out pretty well. I played the one of Called by the Grave. And for the artifacts in the main deck, I played 1 Lancia and 1 Scythe. Scythe is the artifact you usually end on for the normal DPE Scythe combo, but if you open an extender or 2, like if you open the Fusion Destiny or you open 1 extra body, you can end on both Scythe and Lancia and resolve both on your opponent's turn. Pretty good. I think that's it for the main deck.
Okay, and then for the main deck, if you were to play the adventure cards, would you take out anything, or what are your thoughts on playing adventure cards for this format?
I think the adventure cards are really good, especially in a deck like this, because they don't conflict with your normal summon at all. The one thing it does at most is stop you from using the effect of Cyberse Gadget on normal summon to revive an extra body. But that's alright because reviving a body off Cyberse Gadget only gets you to Lukrembo, which beats Imperm, whereas the Brave cards beat any hand trap or any interrupt. And also, they're just Dracoback is really good removal, and the Griffin Rider is a consistent negate you bring out every single turn. I think it meshes really well in this deck. Like, you'd probably cut down on some of the defensives and cut Conquistador to 2, maybe cut the Called By for room. But yeah, I think those cards work really well in this deck. I think Nick and Sean played in a pretty large case tournament last week or the week before with the Brave cards. They did really well. Let's move on to the side deck.
Okay.
Or let's move on to the extra first. So for the Cyberse combo, you play one Link Disciple, you play a double Link Devotee, one Artifact Dogda that gets you the artifact, one Lukrembo. You summon this to beat impermanence if you have an extra extender, and then I play double Verte Anaconda with the DPE. You don't make double Verte on turn 1, it just sometimes if the Verte does get hand trapped, I like having the second one in deck just so on turn 3 or beyond, I still have access to DPE in the deck without having to hard draw Fusion Destiny. That's it for the Cyberse portion of the deck. I played the Halk Selene package, so that's one Halky Fibrax, one Selene, one access code. This is really good in this deck. You can like draw a tuner hand trap off of Dasher, summon it, go Halk into Selene, into access code, revive Golden Lord from grave, and that is I believe 8800 damage on board, which is an GK line I use pretty often this weekend. And then I played a couple of generic links. I played Lina Light Charmer. You can make this off Gadget or Disciple or any of the Lich cards. There's a lot of light monsters in the format that you can revive to make Selene. It's also a spellcaster. So if you have Veiler and Grave, you can go... you don't even have to make the fiber to go into Lina into Selene if your opponent is a light monster. And then I played Phoenix and Unicorn, just generic link monsters for removing cards on the board. Not much to say about those. This is good for back row, this is good for stuff that access code can't pop, or to like pop it, remove a Destroyer Phoenix without starting the loop over again. And the final extra deck card I played was a Link Spider. It just turns your tokens or Eldlich traps into effect monsters to make access code or Verte. I don't think there's much I'd change with the extra deck, even with Brave cards.
Okay, gotcha. And say if you were to play, post Battle of Chaos, would you play the Dark Charmer at all, the Link monster?
I think the Dark Charmer is really good. If you were to play the Dark Charmer, just because like you can steal Destroyer Phoenixes or like other really powerful dark monsters, I think that's like one of the strongest attributes in the game in my opinion. You'd probably have to cut one of the two Vertes.
Okay.
And give up on the just give up the ability to summon DP on a later turn for the Dark. But I think that could definitely work. Cool. Dark is definitely a very good card.
Yeah, sounds good. And with the adventure cards, I think you would need to play Artemis. Would you just cut that second Anaconda as well?
Yeah, it's really, really tight here. You'd have to end up like picking between the Artemis and Dark to play in this deck, just because the rest of the deck is so tight. I don't think I could cut a single other card in here. Let's move to the side deck. Most of this is pretty standard. I played triple Nibiru, triple Dimensional Barrier, triple Token Collector, 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird, and then I played triple Lancia and double Lancia and a Feather Duster. These are just the other 2 copies, third one's in the main deck. This worked out pretty well in the tournament just because Drytron, Bird were still decks in the format, so I think the draw was pretty good. if I were to play post-ban list, I think I would probably swap the Drolls for Cosmics. Just to like have another card to use against Scythe or against a Brave combo. And like other back row decks like Skill Drain and other stuff, especially because trap decks might see a bunch more play. I think that's all. This list performed pretty good this weekend. I was happy with it.
Awesome. And because people asked, could you show the standard one card Cyberse combo into Dagda DPE?
Oh yeah, of course. So the way that combo works is you have any of your Cyberse cards, right? So it's either Gadget, Dotscaper, Firewall Guardian. When all these cards, you normal summon them, when they leave the field in some sort of way, they either summon themselves back or they summon another Cyberse monster to make the combo. So all you have to do is you summon one Cyberse monster, like in this case, if you summon Gadget, you turn Gadget into Link Disciple. Gadget in this case would summon a token. If you ended up using the Dotscaper would summon itself back. If you use the Firewall Guardian would summon itself back, but it gets banished when it leaves the field. And you turn the extra token into a Link Devotee. Devotee has a mandatory effect on summon that locks you out of Link 3 or higher Link monsters for the rest of the turn. So that just activates on summon, and then you go Disciple, tributing Devotee. You get to draw an extra card. And here, if you have either like a Scythe in your hand or an extra DPE Garnet in your hand, you can put that back in your deck. And that's a really nice part of the combo. After that, Devotee will summon 2 tokens because it was tributed. You get 2 bodies here. You will turn the Disciple and 1 token into Artifact Dagda. And then you turn another token into Link Devotee. And Link Devotee's effect to lock you out of Link 3 or higher monsters for the rest of the turn is a mandatory non-once per turn effect on summon. So even though you already activated it once when you summoned it the first time, it activates a second time, and that triggers Dagda and makes Dagda activate its effect to set an artifact to your spell trap zone. So I'll move this forward a little bit. And then from there, you turn your 2 bodies into Verte, and then you send Fusion Destiny, you send your Garnets, and you get a Destroyer Phoenix. That's the basic 1-card combo. There's a couple variations. For example, if you hard open the Fusion Destiny, and this is in your hand to begin with, you can go from the point where you have Link Disciple and 2 tokens. You can turn one of the tokens into Lingeriva, and then turn the other token and Disciple into Dagda. And then when you activate Fusion Destiny, you can chain Dagda to Fusion Destiny. And that's how you can get the Destroyer Phoenix out, and Dagda will set the Scythe from your deck. And now that the Dagda is on your field while the Destroyer Phoenix is on your field, you can, on your opponent's turn, when you activate Destroyer Phoenix, you can chain the Dagda and set Lancia from your deck as well. And then you can pop both Scythe and Lancia, summon both, and now lock your opponent out of the extra deck and lock them out of banishing monsters. Another thing you can do to protect yourself from Imperm, if you open Fusion Destiny and a Cyberse monster, you're protected from Imperm with the Lingeriva. And Another thing you can do is, if you open Cyberse Gadget and you have any level 1 monster engraved, let's say you Veilered your opponent, or you drolled them, or you went Signet Mining to pitch one of the cards, one of the level 1 monsters, you can summon Cyberse Gadget, revive a monster from grave, then go Gadget into Disciple, get a token, then go your token into, let me see here, you can put your token into Devotee, Disciple Tribute Devotee, get your 2 bodies, you draw a card, put a card back, and then here you can turn 1 token into Lukrembo now. So now you're protected from 1 impermanence for the rest of your combo, and now you can turn the monster that you summoned back from grave, either the monster you summoned off the Cyberse Gadget or like a Golden Lord you revived from grave, with the Link Disciple into cards right here, into Dogda, and then you can go this token into your second Link Devotee. That triggers Dogda to set 1 artifact to your field, and at this point you can either go for the greedy play if you want to if you think your opponent doesn't have impermanence, you can turn the Link Devotee and the Lukrembo into Verte here, and that way when you summon Destroyer Phoenix, Dogda's on the field, you can put Lancia and pop both. Another cool thing you can do is on your turn you can set the Lancia, and on your opponent's turn when you activate DPE you chain Dogda. Then Dogda sets a Scythe and DPE pops them immediately, and it stops your opponent from cosmicking the Lancia, which is kind of nice. But if you do want to keep the imperm protection and you think your opponent does have the impermanence, then you would turn the Dogda and the Link Devotee into Verte here, and you'd summon the Destroyer Phoenix with imperm protection with only 1 artifact. But I think that's most of what the Cyberse line can do. I think it's pretty powerful for a 1-card engine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it does have a lot of utility for this format. I think there's not really much to expand as far as the plays you can do. That's pretty much solved. I think some of the tech cards you can play, though, hasn't really changed about the deck, especially with the adventure cards, because they can go into your Dagda and Verte Anaconda. But yeah, I think this is a really cool deck. Do you have any shout-outs or anything?
Yeah. Shout out to Ozone. Shout out to Lewis and Joe. Shout out to Danny for getting me these 2. For getting me 2 of my Scarlet Sanguine when it was like super cold and snowing really hard at like 8 p.m. the day before the YCS last month. I really needed those then. Yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, Zohair, thank you for the deck profile. Congratulations on the regional wins and the other top as well. Hope to see more of this deck. This is kind of the Ozone Classic deck now. This is Eric.
The Ozone Special.
Yeah, exactly. This is Eric and Zohair with OzoneTCG. We'll see you guys in the next one.